Hello, sharks. Have you ever wanted a friend that would stay by your side no matter what? Someone you could even say got you through your hardest times?
I'm out.
Wait, no, that's not what I meant.
I'm out.
No. That's not even the same show.
You're disgusting. I'm gonna kill you.
What?
You're videotaping the show. I am.
Butt lovers. Welcome back to the Lore series, where we explore shows and commercials that one time that no one else is brave enough to. So here on the Athena YouTube channel, we overanalyze nostalgic media, so while these shows are made for kids, these videos are not. Since we talked about the Wonder Pets last time, it's only natural we move on to Josh Selig's other series, OOBI.
OOBI, you friends.
OOBI aired new episodes on Nickelodeon's Noggin from 2000 to 2005. The first season was comprised of 48 confirmed shorts, while seasons 2 and 3 had 13-minute long episodes. 52 episodes collectively between the second and third seasons. Only the long episodes are available on Paramount Plus, but the season 1 of shorts is available on archive.org. And I watched every single one. You know I've got nothing better to do. So as always, I took bullet points as I watched, and here's a glance at how many I took this time. One of my first bullet points reads, "This show is literally just the Muppets with no puppets."
Naked Muppets, if you will.
And I didn't realize how true that actually was until I watched Defunctland's OOBI video, which talked more about the production elements of the show. But to summarize this show's origin and inspiration, the creator Josh Selig used to be a writer and actor on Sesame Street. And as he was watching bare hand puppeteer training, he saw greater potential and wanted to expand on that. The main cast of puppeteers have also all performed on the Muppets, so if anyone can make these bare hands expressive and lively, it was this cast. Well, them plus the practical effects and camera angles really kept up the illusion. These hands are alive, and they're just like you, and they've got a lot of big things that they're gonna do.
Noggin presents OOBI.
Let's talk about who they are before we get into what they are.
What are you?
So the main cast is made up of 4 characters. OOBI, the titular bitchular, his sister Uma, Grandpoo is their grandpa. I don't know how I forgot to mention this, but apparently according to the creator, many mothers have a thing for Grandpoo.
What?
That's amazing, that's incredible. Grandpoo for next Tumblr sexy man. And Keiko is OOBI and Uma's best friend and next door neighbor. They all talk to us throughout, including us in their games and chants, classic kids show stuff, we all know it, we play along.
You snore.
No, I don't.
You snore.
No, I don't! We have some classic catchphrases, Grandpoo's lovely, and Keiko's perfecto, as well as others. In the format of the episode, there's also a section where they talk to human children, and it's always so funny, because it's clear which kids know what they have to do and which kids don't. Like, with some of these kids, it looks like it's taking every ounce of effort not to look down at the actor that's crouching, and the other kids are locked in, full eye contact with a hand puppet. What human? There's no human there. They are fully immersed in this alive hand world, and they all deserve Oscars. There's no easy way to say this. We're getting into hand anatomy. Handatomy. Back when I was doing the Lore of Higglytown Heroes, I thought nothing would get stranger than dissecting nesting dolls. I'll let you take as much time to process this as you need. It's all downhill from here. But the task at hand may be even more bizarre. OOBI and his family have a mouth and eyes, but they also use the thumb to scratch their head. They use their fingers to grab things. So when they're met with tasks, they use their hand face as more of a hand than a face. Certain instances bring out this absurdity more than others. For example, when they're splashing in muddy puddles, they're essentially going in mouth first. Or worse, when they high five. Is that an open mouth kiss? Don't do that with your grandpoo. In the episode Make Pizza, I pondered, do germs exist in this world? Imagine this, I offer to make you pizza, but I'm taking a while in the kitchen. You go in to check on me, and you see this. I need you to know that that's what they're doing here. In that same episode in the clip with the human child, OOBI shares a dumpling with the kid. But instead of cutting it in half, OOBI essentially licks the dumpling, and then the kid eats it. I can't tell if them being completely unconcerned with germs is a sign that they've evolved past even getting sick in the first place, or if we're witnessing a display of dangerous amounts of ignorance. Ignorhands. I wonder if they've ever experienced a handemic. I'm sorry, I'm honestly really sorry. I briefly came up with some theories to try to explain away the weirdness. So you know how some animals have 2 eyelids? I thought maybe there's some unseen film that covers the palm when it's not being used for eating or kissing, so there's some differentiation. Don't do that with your grandpoo! In the episode Uma Bathroom, we discovered the existence of toilets and that they use them,
disproving my brilliant Venus flytrap theory.
In the episode Uma Sick, Uma is sneezing and has a fever. This confirmed the existence of illnesses and birthed my new theory. I thought, maybe food and air travels down the arm from under the fingernails. An excellent way to explain away all the palm-on-palm action. But alas, in the next episode, Make Music, there's a scene where Keiko drinks through a straw. which disproves my under-fingernail digestion theory. Tragic. In the episode Checkup, Oobi is getting a shot, and the doctor explains that the shot is for him to stay healthy. Now, back in the day, this flew under the radar, but now it would cause a lot of backlash.
They're trying to push a pro-medicine agenda on our kids. How are we supposed to teach them to distrust everyone except the gun guys?
But anyway, back to their weird little bodies. If I'm reading this doctor's skill correctly, that would make Oobi 17 pounds. Also, he told the doctor that he brushes his teeth. How? Asking for a friend. No, I mean, like, what are his teeth? Well, actually, here's one way the shorts can come in handy because it's seen there. They brush their fingertips. So their fingertips are teeth, but also their hands? In Uma bathroom, after Uma used the toilet, she had to wash her hands. And then she washed her fingertips, which are also her teeth and lips. Wait, if she went to the bathroom, did she wipe? How would that work? Here's where we have to start mapping this shit out and building a diagram. So these are the eyes, the most cut and dry thing. One interesting thing to note, no eyelids. When we see them sleeping, they're usually under the cover or they're just facing away from the camera. They also grow hair. Looking at our main cast, you wouldn't think so, but take a closer look, silly goose. Grandpoo is hairy, and that's not a judgment, that's just part of the canon that's talked about. Grandpoo even gets a haircut in the episode Haircut. In that episode, Oobi also grows a lot of hair. Everyone is shocked by this, including Oobi, so I think the hair grew overnight. Write that down. They have ears in the crevices of their hand. They revealed that because every time they're listening, they gesture like, This is also fascinating because every time a character has worn earrings, it is not in the correct place of where their ears actually are. Fingertips are their teeth, hands, and lips, as I said, and it's something I can't think about for too long. This is a biblically accurate Oobi. Yeah, not so funny now, huh? In the episode Baby, when this mom's baby burped, she explained,
Air. Stomach.
We'll get into the way they talk later, but yeah, the stomach thing makes sense. We've seen them eat and shit. Now here's where we get to the more mysterious part. We never see below here, right above the supposed elbow. The ways they're able to adjust the camera and flip perspective as to not show the bottom half is really creative. At first I was thinking it ends before the shoulder and tapers off into a tail, kind of like a snake but worse, but they'd still have that elbow joint just for stability and so they can stand upright. But we have reason to suspect that's not the case. In the episode Parade, they exclaim march as they march. Now I'm no snake expert, but they can't march. And feet are out of the question for reasons that will become way more apparent later. So I have another theory. Thus concludes my TED Talk. Thank you. Athena, you didn't mention how babies are made. How are hand babies made? Athena!
Jesus Christ, is that a fucking gremlin?
In Season 2, Episode 1, Camp Out, they're doing camp out things. Building a tent, eating s'mores, and telling scary stories. Well, they would have told scary stories if Oobi wasn't being such a freaking booby. Grandpoo couldn't tell Keiko and Uma a scary story because Oobi was so scared of them going, ooh, that's half your name, dude. Oobi. Now here's where the episode goes from silly
To actually scary.
Oobi can't sleep because there's some strange noises outside of the tent. Grandpoo assures them that there's nothing to worry about, so they go outside to investigate where the sounds are coming from. And we see a cat and an owl. And that comforts him? Look at these things. Creepy as shit. And here's the kicker. In the episodes Keiko's puppy, Uma's chicken, petting zoo, playdate, and Uma's preschool, there are regular non-hand animals. Shout out to the episode Keiko's puppy because it was very amusing watching these hands struggle to stay in character while trying to keep the puppy in the frame and to keep the puppy from jumping out of the bath. So for a good 75% of the series, it felt like they forgot they even had Handimals. That is until the very end of the last season. We saw a hand chipmunk and eagle in the episode Nature Walk, seagull and fish Handimals in the episode Fishing, and finally in the very last episode we see the hand cat again. The integration of both versions of the animals isn't surprising when we remember that these hands are also with humans. And what is Oobi if not a hand human? Uncomfortable question time, what are human hands to them? Do they see them as unalive hands? Or is it one of those things where they're just like, I don't see the resemblance. In one of the cutaway human interactions, a child is making her hand a puppet, but Grandpoo knows it's a game and isn't fooled for a damn second. To be fair, she's using like Mr. Potato Head eyes that aren't secure, so it really didn't feel like it was alive. But still, if a different creature had a limb that looked exactly like my face, I wouldn't be like, haha, cool, make it talk. But I have a theory that explains everything. I just have to talk about all the friends we've made along the way first.
Who are you people?
Firstly, we meet Inka, and Inka is Oobi's piano teacher and Grandpoo's special friend. She Inka on my gram till I poo.
Get some ass, you old fucks.
And just so you know, there's never a Grandmoo mentioned. No in loving memory or anything like that. So I think Grandpoo might have been like a single dad. We see Inca and Grandpoo's relationship develop quite a lot. The first time he met her and she touched him, he was quivering. You already know they played patty cake once they were alone. Good for them. Good for them. We've also met Keiko's Papu and Mamu, and they're nice, well-traveled, chill. But now for something a bit unchill. Frida the fucking Foot. I almost forgot this was a Nickelodeon show. Frida was introduced in the episode New Friends, and hot take, but hands and feet are different. Yeah, I know. I studied this extensively. Please trust me. The evidence? Frida can't catch for shit, and when Oobi tried to kick a ball, it just wasn't right.
Balls.
Frida the Foot is a lot less expressive, but the way she moves her big toe to talk is so trippy. I do not have the dexterity, and my foot would never make it in this industry. Update my WikiFeed score. You think we can't get weirder? This motherfucker's eyes are in his mouth. Meet Angus. He's so shy his face is hiding. I wanted to see if any creature on our planet had eyes on the inside of their mouth, and guess what? I found something. The actual picture makes me feel woozy, so I'm not putting it in here, but I'll explain it. In 1992, a photo was taken of a toad with eyes inside of its mouth. This is caused by a rare macro mutation. However, normally some frogs will retract their eyes to help them swallow, so it isn't that unthinkable. There are many other characters we meet, but I wanted to close off this section talking about Aunt Uda. Aunt Uda was actually never seen, only mentioned in the episode Oobi's Recital. The whole reason this character was even invented was to explain away why Uma couldn't make it to Oobi's Recital. The real reason is that Uma and Inca are both played by Stephanie D'Abruzzo, and Inca is on screen for most of the episode. But this gives us a bit of a closer look into their family dynamic outside of just Oobi, Uma, and Grandpoo. Speaking of which,
Bastard orphan.
I don't know how true this is, but according to the Oobi Wiki, quote, many parents and older viewers sent letters to Noggin asking why Grandpoo was Oobi's only guardian. Guess they don't give a shit about Uma. Anyway, the answer? Oobi's mom and dad are still around, but they're intentionally never shown. The creators wanted to represent a non-traditional family, so they decided to have Oobi live with a single grandpa. It goes on to say, many kids are raised by their grandparents if their mom and dad are away for work or military service. Giving representation to non-nuclear families was important to Noggin, whereas revealing Oobi's parents just wasn't important to the stories that the crew wanted to tell. I want to give that a Family Feud. Good answer! Good answer! My only question that remains is why aren't there any pictures of them throughout the house? Photos of the family are shown all the time throughout this show, and there's not one of his mom or dad. Plus, not alluding to the parents didn't stop people from going for the jugular with some sweet, sweet angst. I actually had somebody tell me,
Don't put a creepypasta in or else I won't watch.
first of all, don't tell me what to do, and two, do feels pastas count? I never heard of feels pastas until now, and I wish I never did. It sounds like the kind of response you'd get after you ask, for the section of the haunted house where we have people stick their hands inside a box to touch some intestines, what are we gonna have them actually do instead? Feels pasta. Here's a bit of the Oobi parents feels pasta. Oobi, Uma, listen. Parents, no here. No alive. But, Grandpoo, why? Why Oobi Uma parents no alive? When Oobi Uma younger, Grandpoo babysit. One night, Oobi Uma parents accident. No survive. Whole family sad. Oobi toddler and Uma baby. Grandpoo find words couldn't. Grandpoo sorry. And then Oobi responds, Grandpoo no fault. Oobi, Uma, okay? Oobi and Uma then begin to hug Grandpoo. Oobi, Uma, okay. Oobi and Uma then proceed to cry for a few seconds. It was really sad to see these normally bright and happy characters in such a depressing state. Knowing these characters for so long, I almost felt like crying myself. After that, Grandpoo asks to read Oobi's cards, which reads as follows. Dear Mom, Dad, Oobi and Uma misses you. Can't wait to see parents soon. Love, Oobi. Grandpoo tears up and calls it lovely, his signature phrase. They all cry and hug again, and then another interview segment comes up. Two children, one boy and girl, talked about how they lost a parent or two for a bit.
No! Don't bring the kids into it, I'm done with this.
Now we have this hand society. What are they like? What is their culture? So something I haven't addressed yet is the very simplified language they use. In a sentence, they'll try to get to the point with as few words as possible. For example, when Oobi is mad at Uma for breaking his toy, Grandpoo wisely explains, Uma little, Oobi big. Uma mistake. Uma sorry. But actually, it would have taken less time to just say she didn't mean to. It's also always in the third person. Like Oobi always says at the end of every episode, Oobi, you friend. The sentence structure reminds me a bit of Yoda, as seen in the episode Sign Language when Grandpoo exclaims, fun? Have? And at that point, I don't understand the purpose of simplified language because it's the same amount of words, and it's the same words. You just flip the order. But I also don't want to be the language police because language is made up. And being a stickler for rules involving language is a slippery slope I don't want to go down. And they clearly know the importance of community through language since they had a whole episode on sign language, which was really nice to see. Here's where my understanding gets muddied though. They simplified the language so much that they don't include words like is, your, or any verb ending in ing, but Grandpoo says ixnay?
Hey boys! Ixnay.
Ixnay? Fucking pig Latin? Moving on from language, where does the show take place? In the episode Chopsticks, we learn that Oobi and his family live in America. And as suspected, since they talk to humans every episode, they live on Earth. In this episode, they went out for Chinese food and were looking at pictures of China. The waiter at the restaurant also explained that he's Chinese American, meaning they have a concept of race and nationality. That seems like a strange detail to point out, but there have been so many shows I've watched that never touch on this at all, and knowing this actually helps unpack other details. For example, we now have further confirmation that hands and feet are different species. Because while it can be a very messy Zootopia type metaphor for different people getting along, this show has also addressed culture very directly. In the episode Shopping, Grandpoo shows them the cash register and explains to them that they have to pay at the end of their trip.
Capitalism confirmed, they are in America after all.
They bought a bunch of bananas, grapes, apples, and an orange for 4 coins. 99% of kids shows show off an ideal world, and this is no exception. Can you imagine if food was affordable for all? We have also seen different jobs throughout this series. In the episode Grown Up, we see firefighters and a fire truck. This is the only time we've seen transportation throughout this series, because usually when they go from place to place, they just use the transition of the non-alive hands waving. Weird detail, but the truck is being driven by a firefighter hand who has his eyes on top of the steering wheel somehow. At the end of this very same episode, we casually see an astronaut right outside their house in full gear. And this, of course, brings up a lot of questions. How is their space exploration going? Do they work alongside humans? Like, I know regular hands do, but why on earth is this dude wearing a spacesuit on a regular schmegular day? Is this normal for them? Because I've never seen an astronaut in full gear while I'm taking a morning stroll. Now, this is the point of the video where I say something truly fucking absurd, but somehow it makes sense. In the main chunk of the episode, we do not see humans. We only see humans when Oobi and his family ask them questions to know more about them, perhaps also to know more about humanity? It's just interesting that they're not occasionally there for the plot like the humans in Sesame Street are. They are never being talked to unless they're being interrogated. Also, I'm sorry, would it not make sense for aliens to assimilate into human society by becoming something familiar? We're not so different, you and me. You like food, I like food. You toilet, I toilet. You have hands, I am hand. In the theme song, they also sing, he's always with you. Morbid alert, but maybe we don't see the bottom halves because they invaded human bodies and are just dragging them around. It would also explain the casual space gear because maybe they're just going back to visit their home planet. During the episode Recital, when Keiko was trying to tell Oobi that it's not a big deal that he messed up his piano song, he also casually drops this.
Alien spaceship. Really big deal.
He says alien spaceship, looks into camera, and continues, really big deal. Is that a cheeky clue? It is to me, because any semblance I had of sanity is long gone.
That means the transformation is almost complete.
This piggy. Roast beef.
Roast beef.
If that wasn't enough, I have more miscellaneous wild moments that are so off the wall they're worth mentioning. Let me read you through a few of them. In the episode Uma Chicken, Uma pretends to be a chicken. She sits on a baseball and pretends to lay it like an egg. Uma is a method actor. Uma puts the ball she was sitting on in Oobi's mouth and he gets all grossed out. In the episode New Friend, there's this quote, boyfriend, girlfriend, different, good. That was really heteronormative, Grandpoo, and on Pride Month, no less. Grandpoo is right. P.U. Stinky. In the season 3 episode video, when they're talking about how much fun it was making and editing videos, the show glitches. Was that supposed to be a fourth wall break? I don't know why that happened. In the episode theater, Keiko played the mother and grandma in their Little Red Riding Hood musical. Not only was his singing fucking perfecto, but I would also like to point out that he is in drag. Oh no, don't make it political. Buckle up, motherfucker. Because how was it that in the early 2000s, drag was and is innocent and fun and imaginative, but now, in the present, it's being made illegal in Tennessee and Florida. We are moving backwards, and I hope when the hands take over, they fucking smack some sense into us. Should I mosey my way into Tennessee and Tennessee if I get arrested for this? One recurring thing that I found really strange is how Uma kisses so many characters on the cheek, the waiter, the babysitter. This is just one of those parenting moments that feels really uncomfortable. Well, of course, mommy loves your kisses on the cheek, but when you do it to strangers, it's weird and uncomfortable and gross and no one likes it. Uma did ask Oobi permission to kiss him in the dinosaur episode, so maybe Grandpoo talked with her about the importance of asking off screen. If you're watching this the day it came out, I am filming this the same day that the video is coming out because I discovered something very late into the process. So there's the Oobi Wiki, which is for the TV show, but there's also a whole wiki page dedicated to films using the Oobi eyes. And by films, it's YouTube video. And when I heard YouTube videos, I thought, oh, okay, so this is like archiving really early YouTube videos, probably from like 2008, 2009. I completely underestimated the cultural impact of Oobi and just how much people love doing the barehanded puppetry, because there are videos from like 2 weeks ago. I haven't looked through all of them. Some of them I've seen are really quite edgy, but it is an experience. I was not expecting to stumble into this. Before we wrap up, I have to mention that the show got an Iranian adaptation called Dasdasi. I don't have much to say other than that. The characters are completely different, but they're still hands. This one has a mole. That's new. I've never seen that. To end off, I have a song for you about everything we've learned. It has a tiny spoken word part in the beginning, but it doesn't last the whole song. I just need you to know that. It's very brief. Trust me, go on this journey with me, and I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing, and have a great day. Song time! Yoda Oobi talk, few words. Grandpoo Inca Patty, cake I heard. Feed on Nick, surprised I'm not. Should have washed, show on pot. No stop thinking about Snake Hand Man. No stop thinking about next step plan who I am. If not out of hand. No stop thinking about kiss high five. No stop thinking about hands on alive on these kids. Oobi corpses. Cause like their hands aren't alive. Hope you laughed at the video I made for you. Sorry, Ming Ming no kill, but still menace to the fuck. What am I doing on here? Glad nonsense be had, can silly jokes be bad if all done in fun and said about stuff that not important, but